Peeps, we are here. We are here. Guys, this is, I told you that there might be one beforehand. I told you there might be just a little pre-debate magic. We're going to keep this quick. I'm not going to do too much with the wine this time. I'm going to keep it quick, like 20 minutes, okay? Mini episode. Now, we have 2 weeks of, 2 Periscopes worth of wine that are going to be dealing with port, okay? So I'm going to talk about port, the region in general, on the next one, when we're going to do a late bottle vintage and a white port. Just real quick, though, port is a region in the Douro River in Portugal, and it's behind some mountain ranges, so it doesn't have the wetness of the coast, and it gets very, very hot. Okay, it gets very hot. So basically, this wine, they stop the fermentation early, and then they fortify it with alcohol. Okay, and so the ruby port is a lot like a regular red wine. It's made it's only kept for a couple of years. It's like a regular red wine that's, rich and fruity, and also has this heat afterwards that you get from port, very warming feeling. Tawny traditionally, and still is if it's an aged tawny, is a wine that turns brown because it's been left out for longer, right? It's been left out for longer. But this tawny is simply a different kind of style. It's quite similar to a ruby. The difference is that maybe it had a little bit of blending from white port, or maybe it was kept in like oak containers so that its color would shift, or they didn't let it go for as long. There's a couple of different ways that they do it. Anyway, you can see with the color of the two wines here, you can see the ruby's a bit deeper than the tawny. But the tawny isn't even really, it's like a little brown, but it's not super brown. It's still pretty red. So I'm going to talk more about port in general for the next one. I'm in the New York apartment, guys. Well, I guess I have to do the taste, right? We got to do the taste. So the ruby. It's delicious. A lot of white pepper. I get this a lot with ruby port. White pepper, and it's just a very rich red fruit. I'm going to do a tawny. Much prefer the tawny. Much prefer it. This is it's just got a little bit more of kind of like the Amontillado sherry, a little bit more nuttiness. It's nice, but they're both good. Okay, guys, we only have a little bit of time, so we're going to talk more about port next time. Couple things, all right? Couple things. There's so much stuff I want to go into, but again, we got to keep this short. Just give you an update. I'm in New York City. I wanted to see the craziness, okay? Everybody's wearing a mask. Everybody everywhere is wearing a mask. I've seen like one person who wasn't wearing one on the street as we drove into the city. Within our building now, our apartment, every single floor is covered with like mask required signs. You have to wear a mask, which of course I'm not going to do. I'm paying rent for an apartment I'm not fucking using, so I'm not going to wear a mask in it. And they can evict me and give me my money back for this last couple months if they have a problem with that. But the crazy energy is really here. Now, you're in Manhattan tomorrow? Excellent. Get in on the madness. Okay, so guys, there's a lot of stuff here, but what I really want to focus on is the big energy shift that occurred today. Did you guys feel it? Let me know. Did you guys feel it? It's been building. It's been building for, you could say it's been building since early October, but something very special happened this morning. Did you guys feel it? You guys woke up early, and you could feel, it was Bob who said it. It's like another timeline shift. A little consolidation. Absolutely amazing. Guys, I woke up. I have to tell you this. I have to tell you, because I gotta be, have integrity here. I woke up this morning, and I felt it, and I was like, you're gonna regret if you don't put some money in this. So I went and I put up some money. I put some money into it. I put actually a good amount of money into it. So I have now officially bet on the election. I know I said I wasn't going to do it. I know I said I wasn't, but I've done it. It was funny when I got on Twitter just to see how many other people have felt the same thing. Big, like Magenta. I swear I didn't check any of her stuff. And I saw only in the afternoon, she says, timeline is now that Trump's going to win a landslide. I don't know exactly the details of how this stuff is going to play out. I don't know. So from what I understand, I don't know the exact betting exchanges. All right, I'll tell you this. I don't know the exact betting exchanges. From what I understand, the bets on the regular betting market are, because they reflect more reality, they're heavily in favor of Trump. I've heard that. I use Predicted because Predicted is not technically betting. Predicted is a stock market. Okay, it's registered as a stock market, in which so you can only bet a certain amount on each position, $850 on each position. So I use Predicted, okay, because Predicted is manipulated. Like a lot of these markets, Predicted's manipulated. So I went and I put a lot of the bets are actually closed out. They already have so many people on it. Guys, I put 10K down. I put a lot down. I'm not giving, of course, any advice here. You guys are gonna do what you're gonna do. But I put money on obviously the fundamentals of Trump winning. I put money on us taking the House and the Senate, as well as the presidency, and I put money on 9 swing states. Okay, I put money on PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nevada, Arizona, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Florida. Okay, I got varying odds on all those 9 states. Some were 50-50. I didn't bet on anything that had a Trump having a higher chance of winning because that's a waste. Florida was like the worst odds, but it's easy money. Where it's been like New Hampshire or Nevada, Minnesota, whatever. Predicted is legal all over the place. I think it's actually registered in New Zealand, but that's not really relevant. Point is that I did it. I feel great about it. I don't even know if I'm going to win every bet, but that's not the point here. The point here is that there's been a big shift, and I don't know what's going to happen with this debate. But guys, it feels to me like the debate is going to set off a roller coaster of stuff over the next 2 weeks. Like it just really feels that way to me, and I had the sense I'm like, if you're going to put money in, you got to get it today before the bets turn, before the market is tough to get into. So it's like all the stuff on the laptop, all this stuff is about to blow up big time. And I don't know what Trump's going to do with this debate, but I bet we're going to start to see charges drop in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. I'm excited. Those of you guys who have been like veterans in this kind of stuff, who go back to 2016 with the Trump support, Bubalski as a guest. Oh my God. What was I going to say here? Back in 2016, I had a deep energetic sense that before I even fully understood this stuff, that Trump was going to pull it. He was going to win. But you really had a sense that this was a fight. Like we were in a brawl, and there was blood everywhere, and it was just like we're gonna get that last punch in, and they're not going to be able to beat us. It's been different in this election. Okay, this election, it really feels like a roundup. Like they're just, I talked about the artillery last time. Look at how things are, like, look at how they're revealing themselves. Okay, look at how, like, Trump revealing them with the 60 Minutes interview. The entire hit piece just completely fell apart in his face. They don't even now have the ability to put it out there in a way to try to attack Trump, because like the insides of it, the entire propaganda operation's been completely exposed. It's been completely exposed. But we have all these things. We have, them trying to do the CERN portal. They're trying desperately to open up a portal. Guys, some of you guys saw that video that Nick Hinton commented on. That they're trying to open up a portal. They're trying everything, desperate to change this timeline. Desperate to change it, and it's not working. They're done. They have no interdimensional support, so to speak. The Pope, now we have the Pope trying to legalize homosexuality in the Catholic Church. I mean, they're just revealing themselves more and more. And I do think there's a good chance that stuff could get a little nasty. As they start to run out of options. They start to run out of options because now they've lost control of the subterfuge. Biden's off the trail, and they're going to start to talk about it. I think it's going to be charges. It's not just going to be all the pay-for-play corruption. It's not just going to be at the pay-for-play and corruption. I really think that we're going to see pedophilia. I didn't think this was going to happen until after the election. I was starting to feel like maybe it wasn't going to happen yet. But now with Rudy Giuliani talking about it, and just the sense of the energy change and the fact that Biden's just completely off radar, I really think that it's like the pedophilia aspect is going to break out into the mainstream, which is going to cause stuff to go crazy. Yeah, you saw they tried to do the Borat thing to get Giuliani, which of course is just like, I mean, whatever. They're going to try what they're going to try. But they are in a really, really bad spot here. I'm just going to comment on a couple of other things. The digital health passports, remember we were called conspiracy theorists for talking about how this was coming. And then there's an article recently in The Guardian talking about, I think it was The Guardian, talking about digital health passports and how now they want to do it for travelers to make sure people are safe, right? To make sure people are safe. I have it on good authority in a lot of European countries right now. They're completely locked down. People are not allowed to leave their homes. I think maybe you can go out and get food, but you're completely locked down for the next couple of weeks, the next 2 weeks. Is this the 10 days of darkness? Is this coming? Is the 10 days of darkness coming? I don't know, guys. I don't know if the 10 days of darkness are coming. I know in Slovakia, for instance, I have a friend in Slovakia, and he was talking about how they were making everybody register. Everybody had to get a COVID test in the country. And then they had people come to everybody's house and then ask them how many people were in the house. This was all done right before they shut down the country. And I know it's happened in Slovakia. I'm pretty sure it's happened in Luxembourg. I think it's happening in a lot of countries in Europe. I'm drinking port tonight. So tonight's a big night. I'm going to share the port with my friends. I have a party to go to after this. But what did we have today? Okay, we had yesterday, Q said, today, big drops. Big drops today. Not a drill. Okay? Not a drill. Not a drill. And then we had everybody felt this energy shift. We have Ghislaine Maxwell testimony out. I haven't had a chance to go through it. Have any of you guys gone through it? Is there anything interesting here? I got a couple other things here to talk about too. When it comes to, let's talk about Beau Biden. Beau Biden, when he was attorney, but you guys can comment about Ghislaine Maxwell in the comments, and I'll get to it. But let's talk about Beau Biden. Let's talk about good old Beau Biden. The Beau Biden Center for the Protection of Children. How about that? How about good old Beau protecting children? It's funny how they do this, guys. It's so funny how they do it. How they will create organizations dedicated to protecting something when they use it actually as a trafficking front. So Beau Biden, when he was Attorney General, no, I'm talking about Beau, because when Beau Biden, it's all in the family, it's all in the family. When Beau Biden was Attorney General of Delaware, one of his big cases was prosecuting the heiress of the DuPont family fortune. I'm familiar with the DuPonts because I'm from South Jersey, Philadelphia area. And there's a Delaware family, petrochemical family, chemical company, really, DuPont Chemical. And, Rothschild-esque or maybe Rockefeller-esque in terms of, I'm sure Beau, by the way, was killed in a ritual sacrifice. I know I don't have evidence for that, but it seems like every one of these families, if you want to get to the top, someone in your family has to be sacrificed. It's kind of the way the game plays because you harvest a lot of energy from that. But Beau Biden, when he was Attorney General, he was, how do I put it? He had to prosecute the DuPont heir who had, I believe, raped his 14-year-old relative. And there was pretty substantial evidence against him. But, Beau Biden said, we could have lost the case. So we're going to let him settle for a fine. He has to, register. But, when you're a multiple millionaire, really a billionaire, if you count the family estate, etc., he's going to have to register and, he's going to have to pay a fine. But he was spared jail sentence. That was just, we just didn't really have a strong case. Good old Beau. Beau Biden, Foundation for the Protection of Children. Good guy. Maybe he provided that child for Hunter. I'm sure they have a lot of really serious access to this, and I think we're going to see it come out. I think we're going to start to see it come out soon, guys. I don't know if you guys saw, they started pushing pretty hard this deep fake, all this deep faking stuff. It's like on multiple media platforms. That we've got girls who, you know, didn't do any porn or didn't do anything. They found these videos of them circling around the internet of them naked and doing these things that they didn't do. And the reason is because of deep faking. Deep faking is something we have to really watch out for. So guys, don't believe what you see. Don't believe it. If there's a video that comes out in the next week that shows Hunter Biden with a 14-year-old child, don't believe it. Because it's a deep fake. It's a deep fake, okay? It's a deep fake. It's amazing. It's amazing how they see this. And we have this stuff. And it's exactly. Rules of the trade, right? Rules of the trade. It's amazing how the predictive programming, once you get aware of their game, the predictive programming is predictable. You can predict exactly how they're going to try to propagandize things. There's a girl, yeah, I think I mentioned this, you know, you can see somebody who gets involved with a lot of propaganda stuff. There's a girl I know who started to get really into like LGBTQ stuff and just this beautiful hair. And when I saw this happen, I was like, she's going to start to talk about shaving the side of her head in a couple months. And sure enough, that's what she's talking about now. I mean, this is just, it's so predictable. Their structure is so predictable. So we're going to see, yeah, it's in before blue hair, right? Yeah. Yep. So we have a lot of really interesting stuff here. A couple other things. This is some COVID related stuff, just real quick. There's a bunch of European doctors who wanted COVID to be removed as a Schedule 1 disease. Only 98% of people, only 98 people in all of Ireland died of it. Okay, so Ireland is an example of a country that was shut down. I think Slovakia was 96. So you have some of these small countries in Europe like completely shut down, pretty much no cases whatsoever. And yet, but that's the thing, you know, with these girls. But you see it, and you know that they think that they're making some unique move. But it's like you can predict their behavioral changes before they even make them. And guys, that's how the cabal operates, because they understood human psychology better than we did. People are like, well, how could they plan that stuff? They planned it because they know how people respond to things. And so they know if we put this out there, they're going to react in this way. And then we can put this out there and then they'll react in this way. And you keep doing that. And then you end up in outcomes which are exactly what they want. But an awake and aware population is immune to psychological operations. So all their games just are very phony. They're very phony for us right now. For us. But more and more people are waking up. So yeah, I'm gonna come back to the COVID stuff because I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the 3D, 4D, 5D stuff. This is really important, okay? I think this is probably the main thing to talk about before we close off. We got a couple more. I think I'm already actually over, but I'm gonna keep going a little bit longer. Okay. There's been a lot of talk about the event, right? The event, and about the Ascension event, and about all this stuff that's going to happen. And there's a lot of stuff. Is NASA announcing something on the moon? I don't know about that. Send me that in the DM. Send me that. There's been a lot of talk about the event. Okay, the event we're talking about around the winter solstice. Okay, winter solstice. Which, by the way, I want to put on record. Paul Publisher thinks my daughter will be born on the winter solstice. Her due date's the 26th. First-term babies are usually a little late, so we're gonna see. Paul, I told Paul I'm gonna stack some racks for him. I'm gonna give him a big bonus if he predicts my daughter's due date. So she says the 21st. 21st is a big day. winter solstice, a lot of energy confluence coming in. And a lot of people have talked about this. They've been talking about it as a big solar flare and that it's going to create some big transformation. This never really sat well with me. And there's a woman, I recommend you guys follow her on YouTube. She's very good. Guys, there's three beautiful, incredible women who are so aligned and in tuned. Okay. And they're aligned and in tune with the energy, but they can speak very, very clearly about it. They have a logical base. So they're not like off in some sort of, where a lot of these people can get into this sort of groundless space. Okay. You guys know Magenta Pixie. I stan Magenta Pixie. She's one of my favorites. Got Magenta Pixie. Although she's moved off YouTube towards like brand YouTube. I get that. Try not to support Google, but it's kind of annoying. She's great though. She's incredible. We have Laura Eisenhower. Okay. Absolutely brilliant. A little bit more fierce, right? A little more fierce. She is the descendant of President Eisenhower. Okay. So she's got intel. She's very, very pure of heart. Wonderful person. And then we have a new one, which you guys haven't heard before, Lori Ladd. Big fan of Lori. And Lori helped me to I guess, verbalize what I had been feeling. Because when people said there's going to be the event and there's the timeline shift and some people are going to get left behind, it's very difficult to sort. Like, how is this going to happen? I don't really feel as if we're going to, like, there's going to be a cataclysm. It doesn't match the energy. And she talked about this, and she talks very much about the movement from 3D to 5D and how this is a change of perspective and experience. It's not some sort of cataclysmic event where you get transported to a different place. Okay? And something that I have been thinking about and that I believe and intuit is, I think when we talk about 3D, 4D, 5D consciousness, what we're really talking about here is 3D is like low consciousness, very much, in David Hawking's scale, underneath 200, very physical and just sort of responsive, kind of unconscious. And then you have 4D, which was always tied to 3D, right? We're talking about levels of consciousness, not formal dimensions. 4D, which was very, very focused on, okay, you enter into courage and you start to care about reason and development. 4D was considered to be a transitional phase. 5D consciousness is love, joy, bliss, these high vibration, super high vibration emotions. And I think that when we talk about moving from 3D to 5D, a way to put this is moving from shame, guilt, fear into love, bliss, joy. And that for a lot of people, what this movement looks like is they move from 3D to 4D, which is they move from fear to courage. They still have trauma they have to work through, but they move from fear to courage. I love it. You guys are liking this. You're liking this. I like it too. I think it makes sense. And then we're in this gradual progression. We're moving towards 5D from there. Okay. And that when we've kind of completed the circuit, we'll have fundamentally moved into 5D. Whereas right now we're moving out of 3D. And so we have a lot of people moving from 3D to 4D, and we have people moving from 4D to 5D. Okay, so we're shifting. Okay, we're shifting. So the point here is that the event is not going to be a cataclysm. And I love that Lori said this. She said, because 5D doesn't resonate on that frequency. Moving from 3D to 5D doesn't mean that, like, everybody, like half the population is going to be killed and you're going to lose half your family. That's a very 3D way of looking at things. And I think this is why it's so important for you to pay attention to the spiritual leaders, etc., who you follow, because there's a lot of people who project their own fear into their channeling. Okay, this is why I'm very, very particular about who I listen to. And sometimes I see people and I'm like, they have too much fear. It's not that they're bad people, but they don't have a clear channel. It's not a clear channel. Those three women have a clear channel, okay? And they have different personalities. They have a clear channel. So what I want you guys to understand about this transition is it's not going to be traumatic, certainly not for us. We are moving. Am I going to welcome fuck Trump to it's his first day in Periscope? That's pretty funny, actually. Okay, what I'm trying to tell you guys, it's very, very important, is that this transition this transition to 5D, these gradual things, apparently the solar flare that's going to occur, okay, the solar flare is going to occur, winter solstice, that's apparently to raise people's vibrations, just to help the process. But for those of us who are here, those of us right here, okay, who have been riding the wave already, look at it like a wave, guys. We are on a wave. And we are on the top of the wave. And when you're on the top of the wave, it's fucking awesome. Okay? I don't know if you guys surf. I mostly just body surf. It is really fun to surf, to know how to get the waves about to go. You get on it, you ride it in. That's what we're doing. We're not going to feel bad stuff occur because we're on the wave. The people who have resisted the movement, the people who have resisted the shift, they're going to get hit by the wave. And for them, it's going to be like a washing machine. Okay, but you know what? For the ones who get through that, they're going to come up again. They're not going to necessarily drown. Maybe some will drown. They won't. But most of them, it's just going to be a very painful transition because they're going to wake up and they're going to realize all these things that they had believed were lies. And they're going to have a very, very sharp and rough awakening rather than a gradual one. So, guys, this is the main stuff I want to talk about today. You know, the only other little things here, World Health Organization offered the president of Madagascar $20 million for natural, what was it? Oh, he offered him $20 million to put poison in a natural cure. You know, that was one of the things. And the last thing here, I'll just say with COVID, is that if you look at the numbers of people who have died, last thing here, we are awake. Trey, you're awake. You're awake. You are awakening. You're dealing with, we're all dealing with our trauma and as much as we possibly can to clear it out. But the last little thing here, I want to leave you with this, okay? I should have probably left it with like the 3D, 5D because that was a good ending, but I didn't want to leave this out till our next Periscope, which will probably be in, sometime next week. There's the number of people who we're talking about COVID, right? The number of COVID deaths. The number of people who have died in the United States this year has been like 2.1 million or so far. 2.1, 2.2 million, okay? Which on an annualized basis, if you were to calculate that, would equal about 2.8 million. That is about the same number of people who have died every single year, okay? So when people talk about the COVID stuff, and again, I do think that there's something very real going on. We've talked about this before. But speaking from reality with the panic and the fear, the deaths, you can recalculate them. You can relabel them any way you want. But the total deaths in the United States are on track to be pretty much exactly the same as every other year. Okay, I just want to leave you with that. That fact, if someone asks you about the pandemic, you say, how many people have died in the United States this year? They're not going to know the answer to that. They are not going to know the answer to that. But you can tell them. You can say it's been about 2.1 as of the end of September, which annualized is going to equal about 2.8, which is about the same as it's been the last couple of years, which is consistently between 2.6 and 2.9. Okay, so point here. You guys are awesome. Let's enjoy this debate, all right? Positive energies to Caesar, right? Positive energies to Caesar, all right? I'll see you guys. Have fun.